Okay, well, before I actually start the pitch, let me say a few words about the background. So, this weekend I'm going to this competition called Falling Walls Lab in Berlin, and I'm going to present this presentation here, so this is kind of a practice run for me. And there will be 100 participants from all over the world. I participated in the qualification competition in Turku, and 3 students from there go there. And like this is multidisciplinary competition, it's maybe more research oriented than business oriented, but there should be some innovation factor in the presentation. And we have 3 minutes time to give the presentations, and it's like very strict. So you're going to be kicked out if you make it over the 3 minutes. Okay, so good afternoon. There are 3 questions that humans have been fascinated by for ages, namely, where do we come from, what are we, and where are we going? In our research, we address the first question, but also partly the third one. So the problem we're actually working with is the following: how to reconstruct family trees based on publicly available population records, such as birth certificates. There are many people doing this type of genealogical research as a hobby, and also many companies that facilitate this process. In fact, these are nowadays a multi-billion-dollar industry. But the problem here is that even with these services, this is still a very time-consuming task, since you need to manually go through each individual and search for matching records. Now, I'm a computer scientist, and therefore I started thinking, how could we automate this process? Well, about a year ago, we obtained a copy of all the digitized church records from Finland, and since then we've been working on methods for automatically reconstructing the whole Finnish family tree spanning 300 years. But I have to stress, this is not an easy problem for many reasons. There are typos in the data, there are lots of duplicate names, but it turns out that we can use similar methods than, say, Google uses when you search for a person, but you don't quite know how it's supposed to be written. And eventually, we can turn the reconstruction problem into a graph matching problem and solve it efficiently using state-of-the-art data mining techniques. I think this is an extremely exciting problem, both from the technical and the application point of view. But what I think will be even more interesting will be the analysis of these family trees. So by studying the structure of the trees, we could start to quantitatively address questions such as how strong class division is exhibited in the marriage patterns of the tree. So are there some branches that don't mix with each other? Or how do epidemics affect the structure of the tree? And in the long run, I believe this type of analysis will pave road for a completely new kind of longitudinal computational social science, where we can quantitatively study and predict the evolution of our society by observing how our social networks evolve. Thank you.
Do we have a funding round open?
Not yet.
Not yet. This is excellent presentation, thank you. And I think you will get a good audience in Berlin. So, because that kind of problems which are universal, everywhere in the world people have their parents and grandparents and all different, the same interest is everywhere, so it's a universal interest and problem. In Finland, the bookkeeping has been pretty good 300 years, but in many countries, so yes, there is need for this kind of software which can match and filter all these big records. In your presentation, you had a great start, so I like that you go to the level of ordinary person. Hey, everybody is interested in these things. Where do we come from and who we are? There we go. So excellent. And you have a small piece of difficulty there, like the technology part, how to correct the misspelling and all of it. So it's good that there was that part. The only thing I was already missing, because this was so ready to go thing, I think, was a little bit about this business opportunity. That these are the business opportunity areas, some of them. But this could become a platform where many other businesses could be built on. And so opening this kind of platform thinking from business point of view. When we have done Finland, okay, we have this computer, this cloud service. What could be the business model and where it could go? So something like that we could. You don't need it yet, but maybe that's the next step. So after Berlin, I'm welcome you to come to us and let's think about it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I haven't been thinking so much about the business side yet, so I only started at the beginning of this year, this project. But
Good.
Okay, yeah, this is really interesting because social sciences in general probably will be the next big thing for this data mining and machine learning. I mean, now we have been doing industry and commerce, but now social sciences will be the one. The problem with this whole thing, of course, is the availability of the digitized church records, and especially the ones that are like 300 or 400 years old.
yeah.
They, as far as I know, they don't yet exist in the digital form. They are written in Swedish by hand and very, very bad handwriting. So,
Yeah, sure.
So how is the availability?
Well, in Finland we're in a lucky situation because there's a project called Hiski where like volunteers have been actually typing these handwritten records into a computer. So we have now about 10 million records. And from some other countries there is something similar, mainly from the Nordic countries. Also like from US, like the Mormons have kept very strict keeping, and they also have this kind of records in a digital form. And also, well, so what these services do, that people insert the family trees, they reconstruct it manually here. But still, these don't do any intelligent thing how to like combine these trees and learn the connections between trees. So all the data that these guys have, I think they would be interested in having some methods for putting it all together and not just relying on people.
I continue. So actually I've been approached during my career at least 2 times by these historians who would like to just use computer vision, digitize your records, I mean take photos and then try to automatically detect the writing or read the writing, but that's it's impossible. So
yeah.
So in these human expertise to read what is written in those. I've seen those books; they are like 1 meter thick, and my father actually was a historian. And
Okay.
I remember those musty books. So the availability of data is one thing. Then you didn't mention genetics. Epidemics is more like a short time thing. I don't know if they are so much related to epidemics, but they are certainly related to genetics.
Yeah.
For instance, some Finnish top genetic researchers, they are saying that Finland is so far in genetics because we have very good biology research, bioinformatics research, and these old records that show how these certain genes are inherited. And then about your presentation, have you tried this already? Do you have any real family tree available?
Well, I've tried a very simple method where you only look for exact matches. So I have some parts of the tree, yes, but not like very comprehensive.
Because it would look really good. I mean, that's a nice demonstration, but it would look really good if you could show kind of enormous tree like 10 layers and branches, and that this is what you get, and people would say, oh, that's really impressive.
Yeah. Well, for the Berlin, we have already had to send the presentations, so we cannot change except for the speaking part. So, but yeah, I agree that would look.
You did not, because you did not really say anything about whether this method works. What are the results? You might have, we have preliminary results on the tree, whose depth is like how much?
Yeah. Well, I could maybe. Well, the truth is that we don't have too many results yet. So we just started, but
Yeah, one point is truly is that is this for statistical research purposes, that you don't have to be exact, it's statistically okay to do the genetic research or whatever, social research, or could this be, how to say, sharp enough, close enough, exact enough, that this is really for a family. You and me are going to go there and check, hey, what is my family?
How are we related, for instance?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because we are related, but how?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. So that's one question.
Yeah.
You may want to think about.
Yeah, and we've been actually talking to some of these genealogical researchers.
Yes.
Well, they, or at least some of them, are very skeptical if you can really do this automatically. But I think at least what it could do is that if you're studying your own history, this would give you like candidates that probably there are these links, and then you would manually check them. I don't know. Well, we see once we've done it, maybe it's good enough so that you can actually find the accurate connections, but I don't know that yet.
Because that 1 billion is a good number. You could even say on the stage in Berlin that 1 billion is our money. Because you're coming with technology, you are disrupting something which is already there, that's our money.
Yeah.
This kind of family tree would be a wonderful search engine. For instance, am I related to you, and which is in which generation do we have a common ancestor?
Yeah.
Or because these church books, they also contain the occupation of everybody.
Yeah.
So I could ask how many horse thieves are in my family tree, or who was executed for murder.
Exactly.
Everybody has their skeletons in there. I can tell you that. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So all kinds of funny things would come out.
Yeah, and we think we're planning to make it like public data as long as it depends on or some kind of service that.
Don't let Google to index it right away.
But yeah. But so if you have any like suggestions how I should improve the presentation or anything, I would be very happy to take, because it's like in a few days we're not going to give. Thanks.
Okay.